At the start of the Rings of Power Season 2, Arondir is left aimless in the aftermath of Bronwyn's death. He properly mourns her and even saves Isildur from an attack, demonstrating he hasn't completely retreated. However, as Cordova alluded to, Arondir is still left without a place of belonging. Bronwyn's death has seemingly begun an arc that will see the elf figuring out who he is and where he should be. The Rings of Power sees him trying to build a rapport with Bronwyn's son Theo, but that hasn't had the strongest start, as Theo currently hates Arondir. However, Episode 3 ended with Theo in an uncertain, potentially dangerous situation, which could spur Arondir into action if the young man needs help. If he is given a purpose that is directly tied to his lost love, Arondir might uncover all the answers he's currently looking for. This could also bring him closer to Theo, thus allowing the two to form a small family of their own. With Middle-earth facing increasing darkness in the Rings of Power Season 2, characters will need to choose their paths carefully. Arondir's path is currently uncertain, but a quest could help focus him. The Lord of the Rings of Power's Ismael Cruz Cordova explains Arondir's reaction to a significant death during the second season's third episode. It is revealed that Bronwyn did not survive the wounds she received from the Orcs in the sixth episode of Season 1. While she initially recovered, Arondir explained to Isildur, Maxim Baldry, that there is a foulness in orc arrows not easily forgotten by human flesh. Speaking exclusively to Screen Rant, Cordova explains how Arondir reacts to Bronwyn's death. Initially stating that Arondir has a deep curiosity and existential nature, the actor also highlights that he finds himself in a particular place, having found love with Bronwyn and a community within the Southlanders. While Bronwyn initially survived the wounds from the Orcs, setting up a future for her in the Rings of Power Season 2, Boniadi chose not to return and stepped away from acting in September 2022. Boniadi had explained on Instagram that she had stepped away from the profession to focus on her advocacy work. She added that her decision to leave the Rings of Power was unrelated. Because of this, the character was not recast and instead killed off, therefore not giving Arondir a chance to develop his relationship with her fully. For around 2,000 years, Numenor was a shining beacon of the greatness mortal civilization could achieve. The island kingdom prospered, grew, and evolved as one king after another continued the lineage of Elros, and in the Second Age's 6th century, the Numenorians' aptitude for sailing allowed them to rediscover Middle-earth, the home of their ancestors. Strong relations were forged between Numenor and Gil-galad's elves, while the blessed men shared their superior knowledge with lesser kin they encountered. Fleeting visits soon turned into permanent strongholds, giving Numenor a foothold in their motherland. Glad tidings indeed, but Numenor's presence in Middle-earth brought the kingdom one step closer to doom. Another crack emerged in the Numenorian foundations during this period. The first child of Numenor's then ruler was a girl named Silmarion, but deeply sexist kingdom rules forbade female succession, so the scepter passed on to her younger brother. Though the top job eluded her, Silmarion and her husband began a splinter line known as the Lords of Andúni, effectively non-ruling descendants of Elros. Silmarion's lineage would spawn Elendil, Isildur, and eventually, the Lord of the Rings Aragorn. Sauron's Second Age rollercoaster makes his Lord of the Rings journey look relaxing by comparison, embarrassing defeat at the hands of hobbits notwithstanding. When the First Age concluded, a weakened Sauron promptly hid in Middle-earth for the better part of 5 centuries, after which time his presence began to creep forth once more. Nevertheless, the Dark Lord retained a low profile until near year 1000 of the Second Age when he chose Mordor as a permanent home. Yet another 500 years would then pass while Sauron consolidated his power, transformed Mordor into a wicked wasteland, and formulated a cunning plan. This cunning plan involved transforming into an alter ego called Anatar, who looked considerably less like a mythical tyrant hell-bent on taking over the world since Sauron still possessed the ability to shapeshift during the Second Age. Anatar approached the elves promising knowledge and gifts, and while Gil-galad, Elrond, and Galadriel were all deeply skeptical of this too-good-to-be-true stranger, Celebrimbor the elven smith cautiously took Sauron into Eregion. With the magical knowledge of an evil Mire on their side, the elves of Eregion constructed a series of 19 magic rings, only 3 of which Celebrimbor forged personally, without dark interference.